Ladies and gentlemen, it's that time on a Thursday morning. It's 8 a.m. here in the UK, and you are very, very, very welcome to the Business Breakfast Show from Chatbox Productions. What a day! What a show we've got lined up for you!
Absolutely. It's going to be a fantastic morning. As we say, we've just gone past the 8 o'clock mark and we've got a whole action-packed hour. We have a fantastic singer-songwriter joining us in the studio in about 5 or 6 minutes' time. And we're going to be learning about his busking journey. Only 16 years old, and he's on his first UK tour already. And we're going to be speaking
tour. Cool.
I know. Nick, we've got things to learn here because our tour will be coming at some point soon, but we've been beaten to it. But he's on tour, and we'll find out more about that very shortly. And then we've got two lovely ladies joining us in the rest of the hour. And today, Nick, we've kind of themed it up a little bit around about mental strength, well-being, and looking after yourself. That's kind of the bit of the theme of today's show, isn't it? It happened a little bit by luck than kind of planning, to be perfectly honest. But for those watching, it was absolutely planned to the T.
Yeah. What's very key, what goes on in here and how that affects everything else around you. Yeah, really going to be fascinating. Lots of things to ask and as always, lots of things to learn.
Yeah, absolutely. Now, talking about strength, mindset, the ability to push on when things get tough. For any of you that joined us for the shout out at the beginning of the week, we kind of whet your appetite slightly and sort of looked at a bit of a challenge that Nick madly set himself. And it was 50 kilometers cross country ultra marathon run. I think that's the correct words, Nick. And why did you even set this challenge? And tell us a little bit about what it was all in aid of, and how you got to get to that peak performance.
It's the Stour Valley Path ultra marathon. There's two flavors. There's 100k. Hats off to anyone who did the 100k on Saturday. Amazing hot day Saturday. Made it extra tough, brutal, as some of my colleagues told me. And a 50k run. It's just one of many ultra marathons in and around the country and around the globe. I run with a club. You do certain races and you want to test yourself, and 50k running cross country sounds like a pretty decent test, right? So I was beautiful town of Sudbury to start, and then you follow the Stour Valley Path, which is gorgeous, takes you down through Constable country and ends, if you're lucky, spits you out essentially in Manningtree. And if you've ever driven that's quite a long way. If you've ever run it.
And you're going cross country as well, through the trees and fields and over the stiles and stuff like that. Now, I'm going to show a video that we did show at the beginning of the week. This is how it all started on the start. Well, it wasn't a finish line. We call it a start-finish line. It was the start line. Let's have a look at Nick live on the day.
Here we are at the start of the Stour Valley Path 50k run. The sun is shining, it's a bit of breeze, very excited, ready for the off. We'll see what it looks like at the end of 50k, 31 and a little bit miles. Bring it on, bring on the adventures, and I'll be back at the end.
Okay, so that's how it started, Nick. You were looking good. We had got a couple of still images here. There it is, you in your full glory in your long socks. I take it that's to battle against stinging nettles and stuff like that.
Oh yes, my lovely Chimera socks. Yeah, thank you, Chimera. Keep my legs going.
They're not there just for. I take it they're not there for trend setting or looking good.
Clearly not.
Now, in your own words, summarising 30 seconds. How it felt.
Oh, you don't want to show the video?
I'm going to show the video afterwards. I'm going to let you describe what it felt like. Or should we just show the video?
Yeah, mate. Yeah, that'll let you know.
Let's see what Nick felt like and looked like after 50 kilometers, 6 and a bit hours running. Here it is.
And there we go. 50k in 6 hours and about 40 something minutes on a very hot Saturday. 31.4 miles, and it blooming well feels like it. Glad it's done. Got my medal. Here we go. Blooming heck. Bring on a beer.
Oh, brilliant. Did you get your beer, Nick? Or did you just
Blooming well did. Absolutely, yeah. Yeah, it went down well. Oh,
Well,
man. And I'm told, right, and I wasn't quite, I've never really been there, that running, a lot of long runs, are most of it's in the head. Okay, and Saturday, there was definite times that my legs felt like giving up, and my feet felt like giving up, but my head said no. Keep going. So I'll be fascinated today to talk to our lovely guests about what is going on up here that allows us to kind of push through, do great things, and have adventures.
Brilliant. Well, congratulations on the madness and the success of making that. You did a super job. So yeah, hats off to you. Hopefully there'll be lots of great comments and positive feedback for you, Nick. And of course, if you're as mad as Nick and do silly things like that, running 50 kilometers, 100 kilometers, driving cars around racetracks, hanging from parachutes or jumping off of cliffs into deep water, then let us know, because we'd like to see your videos and what you get up to in your spare time. And it's even more exciting if you are a business owner and you set yourself these challenges. Do get in touch with us. Be great to get you on and have a chat. Nick, we're going to move on quite swiftly because we've got 3 great guests on today. Lots to talk about, lots of things to cover. Our first guest doesn't really need a vocal introduction, apart from probably something to do with music. Now, how this started is I was scouring the Facebook pages, as we do, having a look through, and up in my Facebook feed appeared this young gentleman playing a guitar and busking. And he's here this morning with us, so I'm going to let him tell his own story. But he was on a tour, 51 cities in 22 days, and he's getting very close to the end of it. Very, very close. But let's welcome into the studio our first guest this morning, Jacob Reddy. Good morning, Jacob.
Good morning. Hello.
Let's make you center stage, Jacob, because that's where you deserve to be. Now, I was just saying to the audience, I spotted you on a Facebook live feed. I was blown away, young talent singing away, and I have tried to tag you with Simon Cowell and Ollie Murs, and I'm hoping we can get you heard on a big stage. But I then grabbed hold of you and said, look, would you like to come on the show this week? We've got a slot, get you in the morning. We're going to get you back on our late night show. So we're not going to go into a deep dive this morning, and we'll talk more about the late night show later. But tell us a little bit about yourself, Jacob. What made you embark on this 51 cities in 22 days?
51 cities.
Yeah. It's been a pretty crazy few weeks so far. It's been very busy, but it all actually started it started quite a few months ago, and it's a weird story as to how we kind of came up with the idea. It was there's this YouTuber who I watch, and he's a guy called Jack Mate, and he put up this video where he travelled to every city in England, similar to like what I'm doing now. And he was giving these like golden tickets out in every city and making like a big nationwide treasure hunt. And I kind of thought that's something that I'd kind of like to do. Obviously not that, but something similar to that. So in the end, I was like, Dad, can we? Do we have what are the plans for the summer holidays? And luckily, we didn't have much going on, so we've set out on this tour.
Fantastic.
That's a hell of a tour as well. Good old, quick. Hello, good on your dad for no doubt being the support crew. But every city. So this is every city in the country, is it, Jacob?
Yeah, every city in England we're visiting.
And you're in a hotel now as well, aren't you? You're actually, because you're obviously having to, as you work yourself all around the country, obviously stay local, because after the show, you're straight out into the action-packed vehicle down to the city and getting set up for your first busking event this morning. And you're doing 2 today as well, aren't you? Actually, in fact,
yeah.
I tried to get quite organised. I've got the list here. Let me just put it on the screen. So this is where you've been and where you are going. And you can see the 19th of August, you're Durham and Sunderland and
Newcastle.
3 in a day.
Wow.
It's even busier. Oh.
Look at that.
Absolutely amazing. So it's all in aid of a charity. how is it? Why is it linked to this charity? How did this all come around? I've seen in the past you've done some stuff with the charity as well and raised, I think it was £1,500 in an hour. Fantastic. So what's the connection to the charity?
So the charity that we're doing this for is a charity called Darien House Children's Hospice, and they're a charity who actually they looked after my brother many years ago, and since then they've looked after my family, and they've just looked after us. So it's been one of them where we've kind of now that, and since lockdown they've struggled with not being able to be open for all the normal fundraising events and stuff like that, and so we thought we'd get out and we'd try and raise some money for them and help support them because of all the support that they've given us over the past years.
Yeah, absolutely fantastic. Now, as I said, we've got quite a short time here this morning, and we did ask you, and you were prepared to, and we had this conversation last night on a WhatsApp quite late, and you said, I don't know if I can really play any music in the hotel room. I'd wake the whole hotel up at 8:10 in the morning. And I went, that's a really good point. So we haven't asked you to pull your guitar out today, but we are going to get you back on the late night show on Wednesday, the 1st of September from 8 p.m. And you are going to come along and play live in the studio, which we're looking so forward to. But I've dug into some archives. I've got your first song, Everything's All Right, which is your latest one. This is awesome. And we're going to show it at the end of the show. So if you're watching the show at the end, you can sit back and watch the whole 3-minute and 30-second video. I hope you don't mind me playing that, Jacob. That's going to be our outro today. But I want to just play a snippet of it now. But Everything's All Right. Is it got what's the theme to this? Obviously, I know lots of musicians write a song about something, and Everything's All Right.
It was one of them songs I just I wanted to kind of write. Especially, I kind of wrote it when we were in the middle of lockdown, and it was kind of, you couldn't really see anyone or anything like that. So I wanted to write a song that was almost about at the end of kind of things when we could all get back together, and that's kind of the feel of the song. And it's all about being together with people of all different ages and stuff like that, and just bringing everyone together, really.
Yeah, and look, the support's coming in. David Bancroft, 51 cities in 22 days, a great fundraising initiative. Good luck with the tour, Jacob. So let's listen to a minute of this video, your latest release. It's absolutely awesome, a fabulous voice. Just sit back, guys, and enjoy a minute of Jacob on Everything Is...
From perfect and breaking down, and we're running left. Show some hope, to show some love. When all we do is just give up. You might think that I'm wrong, that I'm wasting my time, but the closest to the truth we got is a lie. I think it's time we stand up and try. What's the point of having wings if we don't want to fly now? Don't know where you're going or where you've gone, but you need to know now that you're not the only.
I want to play it all. I was getting engrossed. I was sitting back, rocking away to myself. But we will play the full song at the end. But of course, what you can also do, you can actually watch it on Jacob's. Well, it's on your Facebook page, it's on your YouTube page as well. And I'm going to pop that up on the screen for everybody to see if they want to find out more about your journey. There's your Linktree links there. So it gives links to all your social media platforms that people can access. So that's Linktree /Jacob Ready Music. That's on the screen. It's also in the chat as well. For those that are watching on Facebook, LinkedIn, or YouTube at the moment, you'll be able to click away and get to that now. I've got one more video I want to show Jacob. I wanted to really show what it was like out there in the busking world. And there was loads of videos to pick from, and I could have picked the ones where, you know, things were just the audience were just listening and smiling. But I wanted to show how you're getting people involved. So I picked on one of the earlier dates that you did. You can tell us where this is in a second. But this is how you roll on a national tour. Here we go.
You gotta be the one that's safe. And after all, we all want to go on. And now the roads that lead you there are winding.
Party time.
Loving it. I tell you what, that's a stag do capital, wherever that is.
I think that was in Liverpool, wasn't it? Yeah, that was the second city of the tour, which feels like it was about 10 months ago now.
And it was rough calculations, probably 20 days ago, 19 days ago, something like that, beginning of the month.
Feels a lot longer.
How's the voice holding up, Jacob? That's a hell of a requirement.
Do you know, it's kind of weird because I thought my voice would have been long gone. I mean, I can't say it sounds angelic, but it's not actually hurting that badly. I've got loads of vocal suites that are keeping me going through that have been keeping me going. Funny thing is, it's like my feet that are falling off now because there's so much standing up and then walking through all the cities and finding where you're going, and yeah, that's actually the most tiring bit, to be honest.
Are you looking forward to the end? I'm sure it's been an epic journey, but you're getting close now, and you're going to be able to go back home, put your feet up, pop your guitar down, if you will, of course, for a few days and just chill out and relax and just get back to a bit of normal day life rather than out there on the streets.
Oh yeah, I'm very much looking forward to that. It's been these past few weeks have been very rewarding and very fun, but they've been very tiring as well. So I think I'm going to get home and probably sleep for about a week.
You wish, mate. It'd be a hero's welcome. Everyone's going to want a piece of Jacob when he gets home.
Yeah, absolutely. Have you done many interviews at the moment, Jacob? Because I'm sure people I see your Facebook following's growing. Please follow Jacob on Facebook. Follow him on. Well, you're on Instagram as well, Jacob. Yeah. That's the place to be as a young man. Just remind everybody how old you are.
I am 16 years old.
And you just had your GCSE results recently?
I did. I got my GCSE results when we were in. Well, we thought we'd go do a little funny picture with that because we got them when we were in Cambridge. So we went outside of Cambridge University to open them.
Fantastic, excellent. I won't ask you. I'm sure you did excellently well. Music, I'm sure you excelled in. A stars in music, I would imagine. No trying required for that. Jacob, look, it's been absolute. I could sit here and talk a lot more about what you've been up to and what you've achieved, but as I say, the real surprise is coming when we get you onto the late night show on Wednesday, the 1st of September from 8 p.m, where you're going to come on. You're going to apply a number of sets throughout the evening across the hour. Some of your original music, some of the covers that you do as well. And we're going to find out more about Jacob, how the tour finally wrapped up and what it all looked like after you managed to sit down and take it all in. It's been absolutely super having you on here this morning.
Thank you for having me.
Shame we couldn't wake all the people up in the hotel by you singing and playing the guitar, but we'll do that another day.
To be fair, I've got quite a loud voice, so they're probably all awake now anyway.
Probably, yeah. Hopefully they're all watching this stream. And if people want to get behind you, they can come and see you on the tour today. If you are up in the neck of the woods in Durham, Sunderland or Newcastle, or tomorrow, Carlisle or Lancaster, and then finally the grand finale in Manchester and Salford. So if you are around and want to go and see Jacob and throw some money into the guitar case or the hat that you've got on the floor, they can do that. But if they wanted to pledge some money, is there any way they can pledge digitally to you?
Yeah, there's a Just Giving page, which is it's Just Giving /Buskin Jacob. If anyone wants to Buskin.com, the .com at the end.
I will find it. I'll pop it into the chat so it'll appear on all the social pages. Jacob, we will make a donation from the show. That will be a surprise. That will appear in there. Hopefully in the next 24 hours, we will certainly pledge something towards your great cause and the journey that you are on.
Thank you.
But been brilliant having you here this morning. We look really forward to catching up with you soon.
So
Jacob, have a fantastic.
Thanks, Jacob.
Thank you.
Cheers. All the best. Bye-bye. Wow, Nick, there we go. There we go.
Start. 16, mate, on tour. How cool is that? All right. Just phenomenal. Good to get out, let alone go on tour. How cool is that?
Yeah. The question that you'd ask yourself, how many other 16-year-olds in the UK, wherever it might be, are embarking on a journey. 51 cities in 22 days. And Jacob, if that's not your cover of your first album, that's got to be it. 51 cities in 22 days. What a name for an album. He's sitting in the green room nodding, going, well, it is. That's the whole idea of it. But what a great achievement. And we will catch up with Jacob in a couple of weeks' time and find out how the whole tour went. We'll find some more exciting clips we can share. And we'll hear Jacob playing live in the studio as well.
Fantastic, mate. Fantastic. I love this show. Love it. Where else do you want to be on a Thursday morning? Here, man.
Absolutely is the top question, Nick. Where else would you want to be? Is the absolute truth. We probably will overrun today, guys. If you're tuning in, because we've had an extra guest on this morning, we probably won't finish dead on 9 o'clock as we normally do. But that's fine. It's our show, Nick. That was your words when we was talking about this. It's our show, David. We'll do what we want to do and how we want to do it.
Absolutely right. Because we've got some awesome guests, other guests. Right? What a jam-packed show. Just so much value, so much to ask. I got so much to learn, and I didn't think. Right, you start the day saying, "What are you going to learn from a 16-year-old, Nick?" I could have learned some more lessons when I was 16, but just take it's massively inspirational, right? Just brilliant.
Yeah. Absolutely. Nick, let's move on because we've got so much more to cram into the show. Let's welcome our next guest who's sitting patiently in the green room. Let's welcome Harry Mansfield to the live stream. Good morning, Harry.
Good morning. It's a pleasure to be here. Yeah, I've been listening in the background and music is so powerful, isn't it? So a fantastic start to the day for me. And congratulations, Nick. Oh my God, 6 hours of running. I'd like to say you're insane, but that sounds a bit rude. It's not my bag running, but good for you. Well done.
It was gritty. It was tough, but gritty. I think I'd rather do a tour of a load of cool cities thinking about it. But yeah, it was glad it was over. But
next time you'll be running from one city to another.
Yeah, that's a challenge and a half, isn't it? Run for to each city in the country. There's a thought. But you must know what's going on in someone's head when they're doing that kind of thing, because you are the princess of the head, aren't you, Harry? What is it you do? Tell us a bit about you and what's going on up here.
Okay, so my name is Harry Mansfield. I'm founder of the Awarness Key, where we teach you how to power up your mind before it powers you down. I'm a mental strength consultant. So I've actually been a sports coach, which is why I was so interested in your running for 25 years. I started off as a riding coach and later as a rugby coach. And it was the first career path that I took where I got a serious buzz out of my work. And I was sitting there thinking, okay, this is something I'm going to be doing for a good long time. And the reason why I absolutely loved it is, to me, you're getting the best out of someone, and you're building a relationship with that person. And when you've got a good relationship, as you know, when you're interviewing people for your business breakfast show, when you've got that personality click and you can get the best out of that person, your show's going to be so much better. And I just developed from the sports coaching side into the mental strength side, because let's face it, when you fall off a horse or you have a rugby missed tackle, it hurts. So I became known as the go-to coach, actually, when somebody'd had a problem, if they had fallen off a horse or had a missed tackle, just to get people's confidence back. And on the back of that, you would see how much it benefited everyone else in their lives, in their personal lives and in their business lives. And that is the power of mental strength. And it's funny because obviously through the pandemic, people have become far more aware of mental health. People talk about physical health all the time, diet, nutrition, but mental health has been a really negative subject. But we've all got mental health, and actually it's about mental strength to prevent the mental health problems. I remember I was listening to another radio show. I do apologise.
They're welcome.
It turns out there are other shows available.
Are there? Oh my God, how dare they? So yeah, I was listening to a radio show where the CEO of Mind was being interviewed, because the numbers are sky high, absolutely sky high coming out of this pandemic, of how many more people are affected. And it's a further 10 million people. And he's worried that, you know, the support isn't going to be there from the NHS, who's already been struggling and doing the most awesome job, you know, throughout this pandemic. You know, I can't thank them enough, because I had an older son who was in ICU and it was COVID related, and they are just outstanding. So on the back of that, you know, he's worried genuinely that the people who are now finding problems mentally are not going to have the support, and those numbers are scary. But I have to admit, I was spitting fireworks on that interview. It took me about 3 hours to come down from the ceiling, because to me, so much of this could have been prevented. You know, we learn to walk, we learn to talk in life, we learn our trade, you know, for Jacob earlier, it's music, so on and so forth. And nobody has thought about actually teaching mental strength. So the fact that I've been doing this for quite a few years now, I was spitting fireworks going, so much of this could have been prevented. And it's a benefit in everyday life. You know, you do your breakfast show early in the morning. So some mornings you might sort of think, oh my God, you know, the alarm's gone off, I'm tired, how am I going to get up? And in simple terms, it's mental strength that's going to get you through it. Nick, your run, I'm sure mentally, a lot of it was actually, you know, you having to dig deep in order to get through it. And your business grows when you're in a positive place. There's less absenteeism, your productivity is so high, but it's a skill to learn, because the mind changes. Are you ready for this? This is a good quiz, actually, when you're at dinner table, now that you're allowed to go around the dinner table again, or at the barbecue in summer, 5 times per second.
Wow.
What?
Okay.
What, your mind changes 5 times a second?
So it's a bit like when you're walking from one room to another and you're going to go, oh, I'm just going to go into the other room to go and get something, and you've gone in there and you're like, what have I gone in there for? And it's because your mind has got distracted and you haven't actually stayed focused. And how you stay focused and how you will work your mind is going to be different to David, is going to be different to me, exactly the same as any, you know, physical training. So your physical training, Nick, for you, going off and running for 6 hours will be completely different for me, will be completely different to my youngest son, who's a trampoliner, who, you know, the actual routine sort of, you know, like done and dusted in, you know, up to 60 seconds, different requirements. And it's exactly that's, you know, so important when you're learning the skills for mental strength.
So that's the same in business. In business, you know, bear in mind, there's lots of people watching this, lots of people, good morning to you if you're watching this on LinkedIn Live from the business community, but lots of people running their businesses have to make decisions on a, you know, well, daily. We will make, and you'll probably be able to give us a number of those decisions that are made, but hundreds of different decisions are made. But typically there'll probably be 2 or 3 core decisions. But I know some people have to sleep on it. So my ex-business partner, why we work so well together, because I was kind of, let's do it. Then the best time is now. And he was like, whoa, let's calm down. Let's sleep on this. And that worked. In some occasions, that was the right thing to do because it gave us time to reflect. In other times, we missed the opportunity and the boat had sailed. But everyone's different, I think, is where you're coming from. And
yeah, definitely. Think about it in the world of business. If you walk into a meeting in the office, in the days where we did actually sit around the business meeting table, let's say there's 8 people around there. 8 people will work different mentally. And the skill of actually bringing mental strength into the workplace is learning how to understand not just only yourself, but also how the other people work. And your point, David, is so valid, because actually the best comes out from your team as a result of that. Because if you don't understand how somebody works, you can shut them down instantly and they're not going to be productive. And then things start to spiral if the conversation hasn't gone well, if the boundaries aren't placed, all the things that are actually related to mental strength and skills that you need to learn. And you're absolutely right that different personalities bring an awesome amount to a team, and that's how a team works, obviously. But actually, you need to know how you as a personal member of that team works, so that you can bring your best, so that you're not affected by something that goes wrong. I mean, coming out of this pandemic, people have said, oh, well, I know, you know, I can go for a dog walk to improve my mental health, and that works for me, or I've learned meditation. Now, amazing. Do whatever's right for you. That's absolutely perfect. But what I teach is actually what's going to help you at that moment in time, because let's face it, we can't go off for a dog walk or go off and meditate in the middle of that difficult business meeting.
Oh, that would be good, wouldn't it? That would be great, wouldn't it? So I've got to hold you there. Thanks very much for that comment, but I've got to take the dog for a walk.
Yeah.
And it wouldn't be a euphemism. It would be, I've really got to get out. And I think we've learned a lot, Harry, over the last number of months. The pandemic has taught us many lessons. Well, where do we start? So you say you've got to know where what you are, how you work, and no doubt there's people watching going, actually, I went into the other room before the show and couldn't remember why I'd gone in there. It happens to me all the time. Where do we start? Right? What's healthy for us?
Okay, so you have to think of the mind a bit like when you're training for a sport. So I teach these skills in lots of different ways. We've said everybody's individual, so I can teach it through sport, I can teach it through animals, and I can teach it through nature. But I'll use sport here for the example. So if you are a tennis player and you're learning how to serve, the idea of the serve is that it's automatic. You are training your subconscious to do something the right way. Now, in order for the subconscious mind to kick in so that physically you are doing the right thing, you are actually having to do it 200,000 times in order for it actually to be remembered physically by your mind and your body. If for whatever reason the serve then starts going a bit wrong, you've then actually got to correct it by serving 100,000 times. Once it's corrected, you then go back to the 200,000 attempts in order to make that correction the good subconscious action for the serve. So it's a case of just recognizing how much work has to be done. You know, how much training did you have to do for your 6-hour run? How much training has Jacob had to do to learn his guitar? All these things take time. When you are actually talking about things that people have been more acceptable about, for example, physical regimes and diets, people talk about the work that has to go in. It's exactly the same. Anything you do, you have to put the effort in. Actually, our behavior model is the transformation triangle, and that is actually ACT. It's awareness, challenge, and then transform. But you've actually got to act. As with anything in life, it's a case of learning. And we will show and train you, your members of staff, your families, your schools and colleges accordingly. And it is really powerful. I mean, it's you know, the music that you guys do for the beginning of your business breakfast show is upbeat, you know, to get people going. If you can create that mentally so that people have got that in their day-to-day lives, fantastic. What more could you want?
Yeah, and don't go there about the music at the beginning of the show, because we get into hot water with that. We do have a license to use it. Okay, we're obviously we'd never take anything, and I'm very cautious about it because you get yourself in hot water. I know I'm diverted, but there is a story behind this, and we use that particular music because we love it. It's upbeat, it gets people going and fueled and ready. Every single week, I have to release the copyright on it on YouTube because they don't naturally see the license. But there's good news coming, isn't there, Nick? Just give us a.
Mate, there is. You can let that stress go, my friend, because new music is coming. It's being created for us as we speak. Magical Adam is working in the background. Very excited to release to the world new Chatbox Productions music. But so most important, you can relax about it, David. All right.
I'm breathing. I'm under control now. But I just wanted to jump that in there because you mentioned the music, and, the challenges that we face in everyday life.
That's really interesting. So I was brought, very innocently the subject of music up, and you guys have been having a difficult time with regards to that. So actually, how did you think mentally when you were actually having to deal with that? So that's
He's been a mess. He's been a mess, Harry. He's been a mess. He needs some help.
So it's just learning the skills to get through those things that are a challenge. And in the world of business, they're there all the time. Everyone talks about this pivoting, which is a bit of a tedious word now. But in business, people have had to pivot, ridiculously. And it's knowing how to manage that change.
Mental health, mental strength, mental awareness, and there's many other keywords we could tag on to that as well. But they're becoming used more and more now in kind of our everyday life. Now, I can go back to when I started my first business back in the mid-90s, and that wasn't even spoken about.
Yeah.
It was, I won't say it was taboo, but it was not on the surface. It was kind of forgotten about. So even when we were building teams, it was all about the culture. It was about obviously the people around us, get the right people to do the right job, the right experience, the right expertise. But now we're focused very much on that strength, that awareness, and that health. Why is that, just out of interest, in your opinion? Why are we now so much more focused on those key areas? And rightfully so, I agree. But any reasons why?
I think there's a combination of reasons. I think obviously the pandemic, because everybody's been put in a situation that they've never had to face before. But when a business is looking to have the edge, when they are looking to make more money, when they're looking to grow, there are lots of different ways of actually getting support, learning the skills and the techniques. And I think mental strength is now starting to be looked at as a positive. I'm next term going to be working with an independent school in Surrey, and they loved the approach that I have because it's exciting, it's positive, and actually people are starting to use mental health, sadly, as an excuse and a reason for not doing something. And yet when it's a genuine problem, it mustn't be put down, because it is very, very important that people get the support. But if mental health becomes a subject which is talked about so much that actually it becomes negative and people start using it as an excuse, I think that's actually when it's got to be corrected, which is why I always come from the mental strength side and how much people benefit, whether it's a business, whether it's a school or college or a family, how much you actually benefit from it. And I think in the world of business, you are looking for the edge. And of course, we are now between the Olympics and the Paralympics. And depending what sport you're competing in, but sometimes the actual difference between the gold medal, the silver medal, and the bronze medal is minute. And that difference is actually down to the mind. And if you are strong, you are just going to edge it. And those things are really important when you are coming into the world of business.
Yeah, no, absolutely. Harry, we always ask our guests on the show to provide one top tip for business. And it could be anything. It doesn't have to be around the mind or mental strength. It could be anything that you've learned, anything that you've kind of experienced. But if you could give one top tip to our listeners and viewers today, what would that be?
The thing that I didn't realise was so beneficial when I first started the Awareness Key was networking. And let's face it, David, I wouldn't have met you otherwise. So, so what more could I want? But actually, the amount of links that I have got, the amount of collaborations, people who want to be more involved with mental strength but didn't actually know much about it, want an expert. And if I hadn't been networking, I would never have had a chance to collaborate with so many businesses. And you learn so much. You learn about businesses that you didn't even know existed, which I love. And there's always something from it. So yeah, for me, networking is actually been the most beneficial thing for my business, and so much easier actually since the pandemic, because I don't have to drive anywhere.
Brilliant. We are coming to the end, Harry, but I just want to give you the last opportunity. We make sure all your details are in the chat. Your website, awareness.key.co.uk, if people want to find out more about what you do, how to do it, maybe they want to come along and strengthen their mind. Is there any other good ways getting in touch with you? LinkedIn, email, snail mail, send a pigeon? What's the best way to reach out to you?
Oh, I love animals, so why not send a pigeon? Let's go for that. So yes, all my social media, YouTube channels and everything are connected to my website. And contact us for a free discovery call to see how we can help, because we're CPD accredited for our training courses. And mental health for first aid certificate is really big out there at the moment. And obviously it's a good thing to do, but it's a signpost, it's reactive. So we've got training courses for your workplace, which will actually get it specific to your place of work, because a coffee shop's going to be completely different to a factory, but also to get the skills out there to prevent your staff from having mental health problems, which on the back, business-wise, let's face it, we all want to grow. So yeah, get in touch. It would be great to hear from you.
Sounds like a plan. Thank you very much, Harry, for your time and for your experience. That explains why I'm no good at playing tennis, that's for sure. And I understand you've been referred to as the ultimate vaccine to prevent mental health problems. So
yeah, what a fantastic testimonial. Yeah, I'm all about proactive prevention. It's mental strength is an exciting thing to have. So yeah, let's learn it.
Absolutely. Thank you very much indeed. It's been wonderful, and no doubt there'll be a lot of feedback, massively positive feedback for everything you've shared. Thank you very much indeed.
Thank you so much. Take care. Bye.
Bye-bye. There we go, Nick.
Great, mate.
We're two guests in already this morning. The clock is ticking, and our next guest is waiting patiently. Been waiting very patiently backstage, and we will, I promise, be getting our next guest on in the next minute or two. Nick, what's happening in the world today? You'd like to share with us in the world today is happening. There was one very interesting one you brought up. But what have you got for us this week?
Oddly enough, I love a good national day, but one of the days today it's Potato Day.
Potato Day.
It's Potato Day. The idea is you celebrate the magic versatility that is the potato, right? And I think you think of the potato, it's the fifth biggest crop worldwide, based on total calories cultivated, right? So everyone knows about the potato. Massively versatile, though. You know, in Russia, they'd use it to make vodka.
Yes.
You know, over here, massive amounts of different types of potato product. And it reminds me, oddly enough, like most things do, about business. How versatile, right, are certain things in your business, right? So your blooming smart device, it clearly the potato of technology, right? We should definitely call our devices our spuds, right? Yeah, spuds. That's it. I'm going to start a trend. Right. I got the latest eye spud. There we go.
Oh. Brilliant. So if you're going to have it mashed, smashed, boiled, roasted, chipped, I could probably go on, couldn't I? Today is Potato Day, so make sure you have potatoes in your dinner or lunch today. There we go. Interesting comment just being put in by Simon. Simon Huggett, I've ceased attending all networking. It's great for some, but not for my line of business. Interesting, Simon. How about it'd be really cool to find out why and what you actually do in a little bit more detail, because it'd be interesting to maybe we'll get some networkers together that have networked all over the country and get that feedback and that opinions. Why is it working for some and not for others? Different types of businesses and organizations. It'd be really cool to understand what that's doing and how it helps some and is not helping others. There we go. Another show for another day, Nick, all about networking and the benefits, or in this case, maybe the benefits that are not there.
Yeah. Yep. It's all about conversations after all.
Absolutely right. Let's go to a quick ad break. When we're back, we'll bring our next guest on. Looking forward to this one, but here we go. And here she is, waiting so patiently. Good morning, Rachel Thomason, and welcome.
Good morning.
So you've been sitting there, smiling away, enjoying the show. From what I could see, we can see you when you're sitting backstage. How is it this morning, Rachel? We'll talk more about what you do in a second because it fits so neatly into strength and awareness.
Oh,
and
doesn't it just?
looking after yourself. But firstly, thank you for joining us here. And share a bit of your story as well. So, Rachel, we've met a number of times. I think we have met in the past face-to-face once upon a time, but well, the last 18, 19 months, everything we've kind of been involved with together has been virtual.
Yeah.
How has that been? Because we'll talk about your business and how it come about in a minute, but how's it been the last 18 months for you running everything you do virtually as well?
Yeah, well, to be honest, it's kind of all I've known. I had a very short period of time doing everything in person. I know, yeah, as you say, we worked together in person, but that does seem like a very long time ago now. And I think like everybody, it's been trying to be positive, take every day as it comes. I'm working full time as well, so that's been helpful for routine actually. But it is just such a change of situation, isn't it, where you have to just well, maybe not so now, maybe we're used to it now, but it's just working every day from your home is just such a mind-blowing alteration to routine. But it's been okay, thank you.
So what is it? Who are you, Rachel? What is it you do? And how can we learn from your experience?
Yeah, so firstly, thank you for inviting me to be a guest on the show. I just want to say it was such a pleasure listening to Jacob this morning, and the fact that he's 16, I was I was amazed by him. He was fab. And Harry, if you're still listening, I also horse ride, so there was a lot that resonated with me with that conversation. And I think so basically I created Rachel Thomason Wellbeing at the start of the lockdown. Really, it was literally the start of January 2020 was when I first started things, and it's evolved from there. So I started, guys, probably going back to university. I had a year in Paris, took up running, Nick, and was struggling with the transition a little bit, and running allowed me that kind of out. And as a result of that, I started just looking after myself a bit better. And as I went through university, I've always been a little bit of an anxious person, being a perfectionist. And I found yoga, and that just really, I stuck with it purely because of the impact it had on my mental health. And as I came out of university, my first graduate job was Dale Carnegie training. And if anybody's read How to Win Friends and Influence People, it's basically selling training based on those principles. And it was fantastic. And that was really my first taste of self-development. And then shortly after that, I got involved in some coaching for myself. And it was about a year that I was working with someone, looking at my confidence and just generally around kind of mindset and what I was capable of. And it kind of evolved. I ended up moving to Cambridge, and I fairly shortly after that, decided to do my yoga teacher training, which coincided with coming back to a new role where I am now. And I manage coach training programs and leadership development programs. And for me, the link between yoga and coaching, personally, I found completely transformational. The self-awareness that you raise through coaching, but is also then cultivated through yoga in the way, not just the movement of yoga, but everything else around the yoga philosophy. And that's kind of led me to where I am now. So I do teach yoga, and that's one of the services that I offer. But I do coaching. So I have done coached a couple of people in the past who do the yoga with me, and they've just found the link between those to help implement some of that development that we work on. So valuable. And then how David knows me is working with organizations around helping employees or students, in the case that me and David have worked together, with their mindset and understanding mindfulness. So yes, that's kind of brought me up to today.
Yeah, and that's as you say, that's where we met through a university, Anglia Ruskin University, where we met on a couple of different occasions. But one of them was a 24-hour hackathon where they had to build a business or take an idea and turn it into a kind of a working model in 24 hours, which is tough on the mind at the best of times. Red Bull and pizza kept them fueled. But where you kind of stepped in is that you did some mindfulness classes throughout that 24 hours. I think there was 3 or 4 introduced at set times, certainly just before, to calm them down in the evening so they could get a bit of respite, in the morning to get them up and running. I'm not going to get you doing any of it now. I'm sure there's people out there who would be absolutely intrigued how you can do that virtually through a screen, but it does work. Half an hour of listening to you, talking through kind of the things that we can do by clearing our mind, thinking through things, just doing some basic hand movements or stretches and stuff like that, made a massive difference to their performance in that 24 hours. And then we've done some other stuff with some other boot camps and venture camps where you've done exactly the same thing. And there's been some business owners in there and some of the lecturers and all of that. It's been super, super exciting. But you set all this up in lockdown, you say. So you don't know anything different, I suppose, apart from the virtual world at this stage.
No, it's very bizarre, actually. So I have started to take my yoga back to face-to-face, but I'm actually going to keep that online. So I guess the beauty of online is convenience in a way, but there's definitely a difference in the connection that you have with people. It will, I'll be taking the well-being stuff back to in person when people are starting to operate more widely that way. So yeah, it was, I think I managed to teach for a couple of months at the end of 2019 in person. And then by, sort of beginning of March time, we'd had to call the classes off. And at that time, I was just starting the coaching as well. So that went virtually. And there are definitely some things that aren't ideal. This idea of the reconnection, and people often talk about the kind of energy in the room that you can probably feel when you're in a business meeting with somebody. It's different, but at the same time, there are benefits to it as well. So yeah, setting it all up in lockdown was a challenge. But I think the fact it's still going 18 months later is a good thing. It must be a positive thing.
Absolutely.
Massive. It just lets us all know that mindfulness it isn't just a fad, is it? It's here to stay. It's something that we probably wouldn't have talked about 5-10 years ago, or maybe not even 3 or 4 years ago, maybe, but massively important. And the fact that you blend leadership and yoga, okay, I'm trying to get my head around that, thinking, well, am I picturing a load of leaders in a room in the downward dog position? Is that what I should be picturing, or is it more kind of a mindset process?
Yeah, so generally speaking, in the Western world, we've interpreted yoga in a very physical way, and that's absolutely brilliant in terms of the accessibility. It's brought yoga to a wider audience, but there's so much more to yoga. And one of the there are these guiding principles. If you go back to the sort of ancient texts, are these guiding principles that they suggest that we live by, and some of them. A couple of them. So one of them is called tapas, and it is all about creating small achievable goals so that you can start to build every day towards what you want, or whatever lifestyle you're looking to achieve. And there is another one around self-development, self-awareness, and those two are very key for me and wrapped up in the sort of coaching scenario. But the other thing is yes, yoga's physical in the way we move, but actually there's a very key element there between the mind and body. And we use the breath a huge amount in yoga. And the breath is so fundamental to helping us to pause, because it's not just a mental pause, it's a physical change that we can implement in our bodies. And I know that many people listening to this will be entrepreneurs or business people. And I don't know about you, but having a full-time job and the side business is a lot. And I know that pausing can sometimes be a challenge, right? If you know that you've got X, Y, Z on your list today and it needs to be done, taking that pause is going to be really hard. And I think a lot of people, if you're an entrepreneur, you might be used to taking risks. If always looking for the next opportunity, not wanting to miss out, as I say, getting through this to-do list, maybe facing a little bit of stress. There's only so long that we can deal with all of those things and be constantly on the go before our bodies tell us no. And that's when this kind of burnout place is reached. And I think when mindfulness, there's a couple of components that make up mindfulness, but one of them is awareness. And it's really interesting. So I was so interested to hear what Harry said. But this awareness piece for me, she mentioned about kind of, if you do meditation, well, then how do you take that into the workplace? But actually, if you are regularly practicing mindfulness or doing meditations and taking that, hopefully not an excuse, hopefully an intended pause in the daily things that you have to do, then the awareness will start to build. You'll start to be spending a little bit more time and noticing what's going on in your mind. And as you get more aware of what's going on within you, but then also externally to you and the things that are happening, you might suddenly find yourself in that work situation one day about to have your automatic reaction, but you might be able to just pause in that split second and stop yourself from maybe reacting in the way that might be less conducive, and you might be able to shift it to something positive. So powerful.
I'm going to be really honest here. I always thought this kind of mental strength, well-being was always a bit fluffy. Okay, I'm going to be
You're
honest.
not the only one.
Okay, so I'm glad about that. And I always thought it a bit fluffy, but what happened is when I first joined you on the 24-hour hackathon, and we kind of met prior to that, but my camera was on because I was obviously doing a lot of the hosting and stuff. And then you said, right, okay, this is what we're going to do. And I thought we were going to just sit back and listen to you talk about it. But then you said, right, this is what we're going to do. And I couldn't turn my camera off then because I was in that position that everyone could see me, and it would look really silly if so I had to join in. I had no choice, I had to be. And I know you said to everyone, you can turn your camera off and relax, but I felt I was in that position. No, I'm not going to do it now. I'm going to be part of this. So I followed along. And I will say the fluffiness started to disappear. I actually started to see the benefits from it. So my opinion has changed slightly now. It's not so all fluffy. Actually, it does work, and it actually had an impact in that 24 hours that I must admit I did go and sleep in that 24 hours, where lots of them didn't. But it did keep me focused. It did absolutely help. So I'm going to come back and say I've learned something, that it's not all fluffy. It might appear like that on the surface, but actually putting it into practice can have huge benefits.
Yeah, completely. And I'm so glad to hear you say that. Absolutely, so many people still see it as this kind of fluffy thing that's, let's do a bit of breathing, or where yoga's concerned, let's go and sit on our yoga mats. And it's just so much more than that. And, as somebody who's experienced it, of course, I can sit here and tell you, but actually the way that you're going to really believe me is actually practicing it yourself. And, if anybody listening to this wants something to try, just take a moment after this session, this breakfast show, and just take 10 breaths. And during those deep 10 breaths, really using your tummy, maybe just start asking yourself, what's the most important thing that I would like to focus on today? Like really, really the top of my list, absolutely important. And then as you work through that, then maybe just ask yourself why it's important. And then as you come towards the end of those 10 breaths, how would it feel if by the end of the day I've achieved that? If everything else was kind of just put to one side and I just focused on getting that one thing done? And that would be a really nice way to just kind of refocus. So, meditation can be sitting there listening to your breath, but it could also, there are plenty of guided meditations out there as well that will allow you to focus on certain things. And I think, there are all sorts of visualization techniques as well, which are really helpful. I mean, I know Harry mentioned networking in terms of, maybe you're building a business, you're an entrepreneur. Visualization is so powerful. And again, speaking of fluffy things, the law of attraction is often seen as very fluffy. But there is research coming out now that is based in neuroscience, and it's nothing about attracting things to you. It's actually that if you are aware of your vision and where you want to go, you are naturally more open to seeing the opportunities around you and grabbing those opportunities to make, your dreams come true, whatever it might be.
Superb. Open your eyes, open your mind. That's something everyone, Rachel, I think, as you say, after the show, at some point today, 10 breaths, focus. What do you want to achieve? What would it be like if you actually achieve that during the day? Everyone's got time for 10 breaths, right? Just turn off your spud, right?
Yeah, your spud.
Turn off the spud and 10 breaths. It's not much to ask. And I think we feel as though we're so busy. We don't have time for any of this. But we're only talking about 10 breaths, right? It's a small, achievable goal, as you said. It's a great place to start, liking that.
Definitely. And also, let me just say, it's not going to be easy. There's probably first 3 breaths at least, you're going to be thinking, why am I doing this? I should be doing something else. If it was easy, everybody would be mindful, and we wouldn't be in the burnout situation that many of us are. So, don't expect it to be easy. But I think that's the wonderful thing about mindfulness is, I mentioned those 3 things. One of them is this awareness piece. One of them is being present. So not worrying about the meeting that happened yesterday, not worrying about the pitch you've got to do tomorrow, really thinking about what's happening in the moment. And then the third thing is non-judgment. So don't judge yourself. If you're finding it hard, that's okay. If you're finding your colleague difficult today, that's also okay. It's this sense of just really, and again, the more aware you get to this, the easier it is. But it's this sense of just really bringing this compassion to yourself, so that you can begin to step forward into the best version of you, really.
Yeah. And my top tip, if you're new to this and you're going to do your 10 breaths, which you, as you say, the first 3 will be, why am I doing this? Make sure your webcam's off. If you're going to do it prior to a Zoom meeting that you're jumping on, probably just mute yourself and just turn that camera off. But absolutely, it does help. And as I say, from someone that says, in my own mindset, is really, really fluffy to now, I can see the benefits about focusing, the challenge that you're working on, or the meeting you're about to attend, or even to relax yourself afterwards. I can say it does have some huge benefits. Before we say goodbye, Rachel, you've given us lots of tips actually, but one tip that you've kind of picked up since launching your business in the last 16, 17 months, what would that be? If you were saying to anybody else, a startup business, one piece of advice I'd give you, don't do it, or whatever that might be, what would be your top tip?
Oh gosh, so I think do something that really aligns with your passion, because if you don't fully believe in it, you're not going to do it, and it will be the scariest thing you've ever done. But do you know what? I have inspirational kind of cards that I pull out every day, and the one I pulled out today, I don't know if you can see that. Feel
the fear and do it
anyway.
So yeah, that would probably be my top tip. Yeah.
There we go. That's the top tip. We saw it on the screen. Just do it anyway. One last thing. You've got a online starting in September class beginning. Just give us 30 seconds what that is. I'm going to pop your website up on the screen as well, so people can reach out and find out more about you. But what does that entail come in September, your masterclass workshop?
Yeah, so I've got a beginner's yoga program coming up in September, and I do take an approach to yoga that does include all of this, the sort of meditative side of it, as well as the breath work. So it's not just going to be, yes, it's going to be moving on your mat and you'll get all the physical benefits, but you'll also get some of the benefits that we talked about today. And I also do have, I've just finished with some people working with on coaching. So if anybody is looking to find a better balance in their life and concentrate on their well-being a little bit more, aligning themselves with what they really want to do, then I have slots open as well for coaching.
Brilliant.
And helping organisations
up for the yoga, Rachel, in September.
Fabulous, especially if you're a runner.
Put me down. Yeah. I might have some muscles that need flexing more and some a bit less, but definitely up here for sure. That's
great.
It sounds awesome. Yeah, definitely up for that.
Lovely.
There we go, Rachel. We have come to our time. We are running over this hour, but please don't worry. We will be wrapping up very soon. But Rachel, it's been a pleasure having you here today. What we'll do, we will set something up with our late night show, get you back. And if you don't mind, maybe we'll actually do some of the things and share it with a very different audience. It will be. We'll talk more about the late night.
I would love that.
But we will get in touch, Rachel. I'm sure I will see you around virtually. Never know, face to face as well. Have yourself a great day, Rachel, and see you soon.
You too. Thanks, guys. Bye.
Bye. Well, Nick, wow, it's been a roller coaster of a show. So much great inspiration, focusing on the minds, the voice. It's been, great show. I won't say my best show, but certainly up there amongst the top shows. I don't want to call any of them the best because they're all so great.
Just getting better though, mate. Maybe that's what it is. You know, the show 26. Maybe just we're getting better. Do you reckon? What do you reckon? Any good? Are we any good, audience? Let us know. Right? If we should stop, let us know.
I think things are coming together. You know, we're getting great guests on the show from the start up until now. We're always hearing from great people, sharing such, invaluable information as well. That's what we love about this show, is that people are happy to come on here and share their knowledge, their experience, educate us. We learn something new. Our listeners and viewers learn something new. We're getting the tech a little bit more ironed out. We're having less bugs and things like that as the software gets better. But it's been great. And that's why Nick and I said, you know what? The morning show is fantastic, but we want to do something a little bit more. And we've been promising this for the last 3 or 4 weeks. Well, it's now official. If you're tuning in, the late night show is coming as of Wednesday, the 1st of September. We'll be broadcasting to all channels, Facebook, LinkedIn, and YouTube. from 8 p.m. So it's a late night show. Well, late enough for us. I mean, we're normally tucked up in bed by 9, Nick. So it is going to be a late night show for us. But it's not only about business. We are going to have a business twist in there, but it's going to be about anything and everything. You know, if you've got something you want to share, maybe you've got a hobby, an interest, maybe you're like Jacob, you know, you can pick up a musical instrument and, you know, play some awesome music. Maybe you want to talk about, you know, your club that you're involved with. Maybe you just want to air something, get something off your mind. Hey, we're here to listen and share.
It's going to be phenomenal, mate. It's going to, where the home of conversation goes to a late night version. Just it's the sort of conversations that you couldn't really have during breakfast, but you most definitely can have over maybe something to drink, something to eat in an evening setting. Very excited and somewhat nervous about where that's going to take us. What an adventure we are having.
Yeah, it's going to be great fun. So if you're interested in coming on our late night show or on the breakfast show as well and talking more about the business aligned topics, chatboxproductions.com is the website you can go to. There's a join the show button. Click on that. Just gives a little bit of information about who you are, what you do, why you do it, why you'd like to come on the show. You can pop it in the comments below and we'll reach out to you as well. Or you can, if you wish to do so, keep it a little bit more private. You can email us at hello@chatboxproductions.com. If you are watching on YouTube, please hit that like button. We're still at the infancy. We're building and we do have something huge coming later this year as well. And I mean, huge. We are embarking on a journey that probably Nick and I never thought we would ever go on. And we are building a huge team around us to do something totally amazing. We can't let the cat out the bag at the moment, but probably in a week or two's time, we can start to share what is coming very, very soon. That's an exciting one, Nick. Absolutely.
It's blowing my mind already, mate. Phenomenally excited. It's just, who knew? But yeah, it's coming. It's coming. All right, next week. Let's talk about it next week.
Next week on the show. Yeah. And next week we do have, by the way, a real twist next week. We have a young 13-year-old entrepreneur. So started their business at 13 coming on the show. And we're going to be hearing her story. And then we're going to go to the extremes or the opposite end. We've got an 82-year-old professor coming on the show who set up his business when he was 65. So we've got the two opposites, and we say opposites attract. Well, next week we will see if they really do. So that's going to be a really cool show to be tuning into and hearing stories from different generations.
So join us, like us, subscribe to us, let us know what you think, let us know anything really, and we'll have a chat about it. Thank you very much for watching and listening. Thank you to our lovely guests, Jacob Reddy, Harry Mansfield, Rachel Thomason. It's been an absolute pleasure. Another roller coaster of a show, and bring on the next one.
I've always wanted to say this. Jacob Reddy, play us out. Goodbye.
The world we live in is far from perfect, and breaking down and we're running it. Show some hope, to show some love, when all we do is just give up. You might think that I'm wrong, that I'm wasting my time, but the closest to the truth we got is a lie. I think it's time we stand up and try. What's the point of having wings if we don't want to fly now? I know you don't know where you're going or where you've gone, but you need to know now that you're not the only one. Can't change the world alone with the lyrics of a song. So we sing together and we sing them strong. We light a fire, ignite a spark, form a rhythm for generations from the beating of our hearts. We'll be higher, we'll touch the sky. We'll make brand new memories and never let them die. 'Cause tonight we're together, yeah, we're sometimes falter. Just find the courage inside, just set your feelings free. Leave your legacy, always be yourself, be who you wanna be. Cause I can't be wrong, it surely can be done. We might not be the same, but we're together as one. I know we can stand up and try. We're gonna spread our wings and we'll learn how to fly now. We'll light a fire, ignite a spark, form a rhythm for generations from the beating of our hearts. We'll be higher, we'll touch the sky. We'll make brand new memories and never let them die. Cause tonight, we're together, everything's alright. Light a fire, ignite a spark, form a rhythm for generations from the beating of our hearts. We'll be higher, we'll touch the sky, we'll make brand new memories and never let them die. Cause tonight, when we're together, cause tonight, we'll stay here forever.